Okay, so I would say there's about 3 or 4 fundamental principles when looking at weight loss. And one of them being calories in versus calories out. Everyone knows this. The more calories you can bring in, the more you're supposedly going to weigh. But different things can influence how you actually metabolize those calories in. And different things can also influence how much your body naturally puts out. So we'll talk a little bit about basal metabolic rate. Now this is fundamentally what everyone refers to as their metabolism. This is an association of how many calories you're burning sitting around on the couch, just hanging out, doing whatever you need to do to just survive. This can have relatively large fluctuations with individuals. You can actually see people with a basal metabolic rate with a difference of, like, the top 5 percentile can actually have, of the highest of the high metabolic rates can be above like 28 to 30% of the average. There's calculators of the basal metabolic rate. I can post those. But really what that is, and the reason why I'm talking about it, is because it is literally how you're going to burn most of your calories. A lot of people, I mean, you can exercise and you can burn a lot of calories exercising, but I'm telling you, your body naturally needs a certain set amount of calories, and generally, I mean, I would say that's around 12,000 calories in order to just survive. So you're burning 12,000 calories in order just to survive. If you were trying to do that running, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So ideally, what you want to do if you're going to try and lose weight is you want to shift your basal metabolic rate as high as it can go. Some of the techniques to do this are things like caffeine, and the idea is that anything that, and a lot of people associate your heart rate with your metabolic speed, and I will say that using caffeine does increase your basal metabolic rate, the rate you're just sitting around doing nothing. However, the effects are diminishing, so as you take it for a longer period of time, they diminish over time, and also they are if you take too much and for too long, it can actually have negative effects by straining your adrenal glands and the release of cortisol as a result, and so you can have elevated cortisol in your level, which results in a lot of studies have shown results in weight gain. So let's see some techniques to increase basal metabolic rate naturally. One of these is exercise, building muscle, actually building a skeletal structure, skeletal muscle. Muscle naturally requires more energy in order to burn calories, or in order to stay there. So by increasing the amount of muscles in your body, you therefore increase your basal metabolic rate. Another way to do this, which Norton has touched on a little bit with metabolic damage, is trying to reestablish and push yourself beyond what your body is really ready to do. A lot of people, when they diet, they reduce their calories, and what that does is that makes your body shift towards an area where, okay, I'm only going to burn this amount of calories. So instead of your metabolism increasing as a result, because you're reducing your calories so much, your body just naturally adapts and shifts down, and all those calories that you're running off are just being compensated by your basal metabolic rate, and relatively easily. So I'll talk about maybe more in depth about basal metabolic rate and the things you can do to increase it in a later video, because I still want to get on to the other things. Okay, so talk a little bit of calories in versus calories out. So the other thing that we're going to want to look at is inflammation. So sorry about that. That's my radiator. But we're going to want to look at inflammation. And the reason being is that inflammation has been strongly associated with insulin resistance and leptin resistance. Leptin is the hormone that controls appetite, and insulin is the hormone that controls how rapidly and how quickly carbohydrates are brought into the body and stored as fat, and not utilized as a short-term energy source. So, ever eat ice cream, a whole bowl of ice cream really quick, it's like kind of melted, and you kind of feel really groggy? That's because you've had so much sugar in your body that your body needs to secrete insulin, and so therefore then you get tired and groggy. People with high insulin feel like that all the time. So if you feel groggy all the time, well, that could be associated with high insulin, which you have to then address in order to increase your energy levels, because your body is naturally storing all this energy. So inflammation. Inflammation can be associated with obesity. Adipose tissue can actually interact with each other and cause inflammation. There's also been associated with inflammation as a result of taking in microtoxins, taking in aflatoxins, maybe associations with processed foods. I mean, all these foods have additives in order to destroy microorganisms, but as a result, they're also attacking you, and also the are strongly associated with killing. You have GMOs, which have been used in order to destroy insecticides. They naturally excrete insecticides, and the idea is that you don't have to use as many insecticides, but the result is the same amount of insecticide. Sorry, I'm rambling. But the idea is that you have toxins and things in your body and things in your environment that you're ingesting, and your body reacts to that with inflammation. Now, doing things, some may say eating organically, and eating cleanly, those can affect how much inflammation results in your body. Inflammation is also associated with proteins. As you ingest things, your body reacts to proteins that you're ingesting. So some may say that high meat intake can be associated with increased inflammation because your body's reacting to the protein and creating what's called antigens, and those antigens then go in your body, and as a result, you get inflammation. It's sort of like an allergic reaction, a reduced allergic reaction that your body's constantly dealing with, but this constant influx of toxins can have long-term side effects. The next thing I want to talk about is antibiotics. Antibiotics have been associated with weight gain in animals. We inject animals, agriculturally, we inject animals antibiotics because it increases the rate at which they gain weight. So one could assume, and this has also been shown to be correlated with infants, and if it's in infants and also in adult mammals, you could say that adults could also suffer from the same thing. The reason why antibiotics can have an influence on weight has been correlated with the idea that your body no longer needs the energy to try and fight off bacteria, so your immune system does not require that much energy. The other one is that it changes your gut bacteria, destroying most of the good bacteria and letting loose some of sort of setting an environment which bad bacteria can grow, and that actually churn carbohydrates that you ingest. You have more cells in your gut than you do in your entire body, bacterial cells. You have like some trillion amount of bacteria, so that they can have a strong influence on your health. But carbohydrates, these bacteria can actually convert these carbohydrates into fatty acids, which then are much more regularly absorbed into adipose tissue. So then you can get fatter in that mechanism, because your body's not using the short-term energy, it's using its long-term energy, and it's harder for your body to access that sort of short-term energy. That was very scientific, that harder access, but I think you get what I'm saying. Trying to think of the other one. I have Basal Metabolic rate, which I wanted to touch on. I have inflammation, which I wanted to touch on. And I have antibiotics, which I wanted to touch on. I am trying to think of the other one before this video ends. And I'm not doing so well. But, anyways, I'll try and put another link to another video if I think of it. But those are really what are going to have the largest influences on your weight gain. Extending antibiotic portion of it is that the same thing that influences inflammation could also destroy the good bacteria in your stomach. So all these microtoxins and things like that, not only are antibiotics doing that, but if they can destroy insects and that sort of bacteria or funguses, then in theory it could have potential, because a lot of organisms act similarly, to destroy your good bacteria. And so again, eating healthily, organically, will help eliminate the amount of microtoxins that you suffer from, and therefore help contribute to better gut bacteria and better health, along with a variety of other factors associated with eating healthy, that this video it's beyond this video's limitations. Alright, well, I hope you learned something, and again, I'm sorry I'm not funny, but have a great day, and subscribe, and keep looking at other videos. Look up Wayne Norton. He's an excellent scientific researcher. Hodgkin's are kind of good. They're not very scientific. Then I also, Ian McCarthy is kind of okay. He's good at researching scientific information, but he's not really that good at, well, sticking with his guns. He's very confrontational. I'll say that. So I don't really like his videos. You know, the Hodgkins say one thing and he immediately has to go the other way into the other extreme. So that's kind of annoying. I hope you learned something, and I hope you go and look at those videos. So thank you very much. Subscribe.